What's going on, guys? Technology for All here, and today I have a somewhat special video. Today I'm going to be looking at this computer and fixing it up. Now, I don't know if you guys can tell, but this is an Alienware computer. Now, before you guys start thinking, oh my god, you bought an Alienware computer? No, no, no. I didn't buy an Alienware computer. No way. There's absolutely no way I would buy an Alienware computer. My dad actually got this at a garage sale for a really good price because apparently the seller said, oh, something's wrong with the computer, I'll sell it to you for this price. My dad said sure because it was a bargain, and everybody knows that Alienwares are super expensive. Now, that being said, I don't even think this is the original format that the original Alienware came with, because this is the let's see the back code, Area 51 7500 R5 model. I don't know Alienware models at all. I really don't. So I'm pretty sure this isn't what came with the Alienware exactly, because if it did, that's ridiculous. Because look at this graphics card right here. This graphics card is an AMD 5000 series graphics card. That's really old. Now, granted, this Alienware might be an old type of Alienware from back in the time when maybe the 5000 series was a good card, but I'm pretty sure the original owner took out the better graphics card and put this one in, but I'm not exactly sure. But I'm just thinking it is, because I don't know why he would sell a Alienware for a really cheap price with a graphics card that's like really, I don't know, beefy or something. I'm pretty sure this isn't that beefy, but we'll be testing this out later in the video once I get everything installed. So, like I said, this is an AMD 5000 series graphics card. I don't know what the processor is. I'm going to assume it's a Core 2 Duo or Core 2 Quad, because this motherboard is an N4680i. Now, what funny thing about that is I had the big brother of this motherboard, the 750i. N4 series, and that was actually my first motherboard ever for my gaming computer, so that was actually kind of like a throwback, and it kind of made me feel good inside, because, you know, nostalgic memories. We also have 4 gigabytes of memory. Funny story about the memory in just a second. We also have a 700 watt power supply. Yes, you heard me right, 700 watt power supply. Look how ginormous this is. This would be considered a 1000 watt plus power supply if somebody looked at this without looking at the actual sticker, because look how long this is. Now, I don't know if 700 watt power supplies were this long back in the day, but that is ridiculous. And it's by a company called Hipro. I used to think they were called Hippo, but yeah, a pretty cheap company. Obviously, because this is Alienware. But anyway, and I think this is a Seagate, I want to say Barracuda hard drive from what I saw last time. So I kind of looked over some of the parts already, but that was like kind of like an hour or two ago, so I don't exactly remember everything. We also have this little USB cable, it seems like, but it's actually USB to motherboard USB or whatever you want to call it. That is a memory card reader, so like SD cards, memory sticks, things like that. It reads all of that. An IDE, and I don't understand why, IDE DVD drive. I just totally do not understand why they went with IDE, but whatever. And that's basically it. We also have just, oh, actually, we have 3 fans. One here, so intake, outtake, and the hard drive fan. Which I guess if I want to give some sort of positive feedback, cool for having a fan for the hard drives, I guess. Other than that, there's nothing really much special about it. Now, again, a funny story about the memory. Apparently, when my dad was trying to see what was wrong with it, it would make a long beep noise. Now, everybody knows the post beep, it just goes beep, and that's it. But this one made like a long beep that I'm not even going to attempt to do because that would probably hurt your ears. But, so obviously there was something wrong with it. Now, I don't think my dad had the time to fix it. So what I thought was, okay, let's do it the most simplest thing. Memory. Let's see if I change out the memory, see if anything happens. I change out the memory, boom, worked fine. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? It was just the memory that was wrong. Everything else is fine. Now, obviously, I don't know if everything is fine, but I'm going to assume it is. But I was very shocked to notice, or to know, or find out rather, that it was just a simple RAM stick. That was just the issue. Like, seriously. The guy sold it for a really low price, which I don't even remember anymore because this was a while ago. And it was just a freaking RAM stick that had an issue. That's it. Now, what's even a funnier story, so I took out the bad memory, and I tested out, because, okay, so we have 4 of them here. Each are 1 gigabyte. 4 of them, 1 gigabyte each. 1 of them was bad. 3 of them were good. So I looked at the one that was bad. Obviously, there was nothing on it that showed me any damage or anything like that. So I was just like, meh. And I looked at the logo, and obviously it's just some random company that nobody knows about. And I just threw it away or whatever. or not threw it away, but like I threw it like on my desk or something because it doesn't matter because it's dead. And I tested that it was dead, and it was dead. And my brother was looking at it, and he was just, you know, moving it like that, looking at things like that. Actually, let me just show you what he was doing. So, yes, I know the power is on. It's probably a bad idea to mess with things when the power is on. I know, I get it, but don't worry about it. So my brother was just, has his memory, you know, he's just looking at it because he doesn't know much about computers, but he's interested in it. And he was just, you know, bending it, things like that. Literally, he was bending it because, I mean, so what? It was broken. I just told him it's a piece of crap memory stick, so just do whatever you want with it, basically. Now, maybe just put this back real quick. Now, after he did that, I put it back in here because I was curious. I was like, okay, because I had a stack of memory that I was going to test out with this computer. The first stick I used worked, so the other stacks I didn't need, but I tested them out just to see how they were doing. They all worked. So they got mixed up in that stash, but I remember their logos. So I got all the ones that had the same logos, 4 of them, like I said, 4, and I put them all back in just to see, you know, which one was the bad one, because, you know, I would put all of them in, they would beep at me saying something's wrong, take one of them out, it would beep at me something's wrong, take one out until I find that, you know, I took out the bad one already. Funny enough, and I kid you not, all the sticks work now. Now granted, the motherboard sometimes freezes, and I'll show you what I mean. Look at the LCD in the bottom right here. It'll probably stay stuck at 25. Or 1D now. So that happens, right? It freezes up at a certain area, and that's it. Now let me turn it off. And if I'm lucky, doing this on video, because it would work in person, but I don't know if I'm going to be lucky recording this, but turn it back on. Okay, so I'm not lucky. But I'm telling you guys, it literally was working. The bad memory stick was literally working, and I don't know why, and I don't know how. I was so confused as to how that happened. I just don't understand how my brother did something with the bad stick and suddenly it's working. But anyway, so that was the story. So, like I said, I'm going to be, I guess, fixing up this computer when technically it's already fixed. Like, the memory works, the hard drive I assume works, graphics card I assume works, and yeah, we're gonna just see how it goes. I have a monitor and a keyboard and a mouse here. I'm just gonna set everything up and we'll see how this performs. By the way, these were the sticks of RAM that I had next to me, because I was gonna use these to test it out on there and see which ones worked. Because first off, I didn't know any of these worked, but I tested them all now. They all work. They all work, so that's good. So that was my first initial thing I was going to do. And then secondly, I was going to see if the computer was going to work with it, and it did. So, yeah. Oh, and we're also going to be testing out a random hard drive that's, I think, 200 gigabytes, 250 gigabytes. I know it's a laptop-sized hard drive, but, you know, whatever. If that hard drive doesn't work, we have that one. Hopefully that one works, and we'll see what's up. Alright, well, this is not a good sign. First off, it doesn't even detect the hard drive at all, and the hard drive is SATA. And then also, apparently the CMOS isn't working, so I guess like the battery is dead or something in here. And I don't know why it says floppy disk failed. There's no floppy in there, but maybe there's like a floppy cable or something. So, I'm going to have to open this up and check things out. Alright, well, I got the hard drive detected, as you can see. The SATA cable was just loose, that's all it was, so I just had to plug it in and, you know, securely, and there we go. So now I'm just going to connect the keyboard and mouse and go into the BIOS and see what we can do. Hopefully the keyboard works. There we go. It works. So that's good. Let's see if we can shut the freaking fans off, because man, that is loud. Before I go looking for fan options, let's check out just the normal options. So obviously bad date because the battery's dead, I'm assuming. We got the IDE drive for the DVD, the hard drive, no floppy obviously, which again I don't know why it's saying floppy ever if this is set to none. We got boot priorities, CD-ROM priority, network. Ooh, what was that? Oh, okay, just alright. Just normal stuff. CD-ROMs first, hard drive second, the networks third, all that type of stuff. So nothing special here. Full logo show is just the Alienware logo, which I'm gonna disable because nobody cares about that. Chipset features. Ooh, we can actually overclock. It looks like, possibly. Interesting. Actually, let me see. Max 10, current value 10. Oh, never mind. Maybe not. Or, well, yeah, I don't know. I don't even want to try or research for that because screw that. We got that, CPU config, options, cores, enable. So it is dual core, as we can see, because 2 and 3 is disabled, 0, 1 is enabled, so it is a dual core, unfortunately. So this is kind of getting slow. We got voltages. So okay, I'm assuming you can overclock, but I'm not even gonna bother doing that. Timings and stuff, and all these other things. Now, obviously, I'm not familiar with this motherboard's particular BIOS, or BIOS, whatever you want to call it. I'm probably gonna call it both ways. So it may seem like I don't know what I'm talking about, but that's because I'm not exactly familiar with every single motherboard's BIOS. I know most of them are the same in terms of this type of BIOS, but nowadays it's like those fancy UEFI BIOS where you can use your mouse and whatever. But yeah, so we have that, just IDE stuff, RAID, USB. Okay, so mouse is enabled. Just a bunch of stuff, eSATA, and power management stuff, this system monitor, dynamic fan control, thank you. How about I just manual at least the chassis, because jeez man, the chassis is going super loud. Put that at least 50. And then the CPU, I'm pretty sure it's not going to overheat, so I'm going to put 70. Oh my lord. If temp is above 70 degrees Celsius, set fan to 100. If temp is 60 degrees Celsius... Okay, so I'm pretty sure what you hear in the background is most likely the chassis fan. So I'm just going to keep it like this. Doesn't really matter. You can also change the fan speeds for the N-Force fan, because the N-Force motherboards do come with their own fans. For some reason, it doesn't come with one in this particular computer, so I guess the guy that owned it maybe lost it or something. I don't know. But yeah, see, the CPU is 48 degrees, the board's 36. Everything's fine. So just save that, and hopefully this computer can shut up now. And let me move the camera a little bit better too. Much better. Thank you, computer. Christ. Alright, so now it sounds way better. Now let's see if I can actually make it a little bit quieter. At least, Actually, nah, I think this should be fine. I don't want to go too low, and then, the CPU starts getting all hot, or the case, or whatever. Oh, actually, let me put this at 50 as well, because I think there is a second fan in here. I'm just going to put all these at 50. Even though I don't even think there's no N-Force fan. I don't think there's an aux fan. But there is a second chassis fan, so I'm going to turn down to 50 as well. And we should be fine. Okay, maybe not. There we go. Alright, now it sounds quieter. At least I think it does. But there we go. So, we got... Oh. Is it booted from the hard drive? This didn't happen. Now it is. This thing's stuck though. It just says boot from CD. Oh. Interesting. I guess the person that had this computer apparently left his, one of those softwares you can get that destroy data from your hard drive. Yeah, I guess he used one of those, as you can see, because right there it says boot and nuke. The software irrecoverably destroys data, just like the one that my dad has called, I think it's Wipe Drive. So yeah, it's basically one of those. So cool, we have an extra CD of another software of it. Cool. That's actually pretty interesting how he left it in there. I don't know why the guy didn't take it out, but alright, well, now we have another copy of a software that destroys data. So nice. If you guys are wondering how the front looks like, you have the logo right here, which is the power button, glows. Ports right here, glows. 2 USB, 1 FireWire, and headphone microphone. So nothing special. Now give me the seating. Thank you. Alright, so like I mentioned earlier, I was going to run a program called memtest on this computer just to see if all the RAM sticks actually pass. Now, It shouldn't, but if it does, I'm going to be very, very surprised because, again, one of these sticks is bad. But if it doesn't tell me that, or if it doesn't tell me any errors or anything, I'm going to be very surprised. And kind of worried because I don't know which one's the bad one. So, yeah, I hope this finds something. So I've been running it for about a minute and a half now, and I'll come back once this whole thing is done. Alright, so I've been letting it run for about 52 minutes and 50 seconds, so 53. It actually passed, and I'm still just shocked as to how it passed with no errors. Like, I really don't know how long that bad memory stick is gonna last, but it somehow passed. Granted, if I let this go on for like maybe something exaggerated like 24 hours, it would probably detect something, but we don't have that much time. So obviously we're just gonna move on, and if there's any problems in the future, then I know what's wrong. Now I'm just worried about which RAM stick is the one that's bad. I don't know how I'm gonna find that out, but anyway, that's a problem I'll deal with later once, you know, it starts acting up again. So I'm gonna go ahead and just stop this and now install Windows 7 and just do basically that. Just install Windows and see if it succeeds and, you know, all that type of stuff. I'm just gonna be assuming that the hard drive is working properly. So yeah, let's go ahead and get to that. So while I was waiting till the Windows 7 files go onto my USB, because I'm going to be installing Windows 7 by USB for reasons that I'll get to in a second, I installed a blue LED fan that I actually don't use anymore, and I don't think I ever will, because if I remember, it was giving me issues. But now it actually looks like it's working fine, for now. But yeah, so that's the blue fan that I added right here, and then this little alien logo thing glows right there as well. I think that's the first time I'm showing you guys that throughout this whole video, so yeah, just wanted to show that off. And actually the Windows 7 USB file things are done, so I'm gonna be going ahead and installing Windows 7 now. Alright, well, I give up. I did the whole USB thing, but the computer wasn't detecting it, and I was trying to see if I can remake the USB thing a different way, but apparently I didn't have an ISO file on my computer, and I don't have a DVD drive on my computer. My dad has one on his computer, and it was just too much of a hassle to go to his computer, make an ISO file out of the DVD drive that I'm using right now, and then transfer the ISO to my computer, and doing the whole installation of the ISO to the USB, and blah 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 blah. Throughout the whole time, this would be done probably. Now the reason why I didn't want to do it by disc is because, again, as I mentioned earlier, for some reason the DVD drive is IDE, so this is probably gonna take a while, unfortunately. I'm hoping not, but it might, especially because I'm so used to like really fast data speeds. Going back to IDE, it's just gonna feel like it's gonna take an eternity, honestly. I don't know, it might not be that bad, I might be just exaggerating, but I don't know, man. You know, considering how fast this thing went, and I really expected it to go slower, I should have just run it off the DVD the first time instead of trying to get a USB working. Yay! Setup will continue after restarting your computer. Alright, well, we're basically almost done with the Windows installation. So, after we're done with Windows installation, obviously I'm going to download the drivers and stuff and hope for the best that everything works out well. I also have a cheap Wi-Fi USB thing that I'm just going to be using for the computer so that it connects my Wi-Fi. It actually works pretty well, this little cheap adapter, but the problem with it is that it gets really freaking hot. So yeah, I'm going to be, you know, downloading drivers and all that stuff, and just hope for the best, things work out and all that. Hope that nothing is like not working or whatever. Chances are probably something's gonna not work because this is a pretty old computer. Considering how old it is, it's probably not gonna find all the drivers, but it might. I don't know, it's not like super old. And I also found out there was a Windows Vista key on this case. So right now I'm just installing Steam. It's just installing it up there right now, and I'm also installing the video drivers. And once I'm done with these two things, then we can start doing some like the 3D Mark benchmark and installing a game. And I'm also going to get some benchmark programs themselves that I can think of. I think there's one called PC Mark. I'm not exactly sure or Performance Mark. I don't remember. I gotta find that program. I'm pretty sure I could find it and then I'll do some concluding words, and that'll be it. So we're almost done finally. So all the benchmarks have now installed for this 3D Mark benchmark program. I don't know why I had to do the installations of the benchmarks one by one. I guess they changed it so that you could just install whatever benchmark you want instead of all of them being downloaded at once. Kind of prefer that, but you know, whatever. I installed all of them myself. But anyway, before I start them, I wanted to go over the three things right here. System, Windows 7 64-bit, 4 gigabytes of RAM, 76 gigabytes of hard drive space. Processor, Intel Core 2 Duo E6700 at 2.6 gigahertz. So I knew it was a Core 2 Duo. I was just confused as to why everything was telling me Intel Core 2, and then that was it. I don't know why. Everywhere I looked, it just said that. But there we go, Core 2 Duo. So I was right basically. I said it was either a Core 2 Duo or a Core 2 Quad. So it's a Core 2 Duo. And then the graphics, we have the AMD Radeon HD 5670 at 775 megahertz, which is interesting because I thought this was actually a lower series card. So like, I knew it was a 5000 series, but I didn't think it was a higher 5000 series, a 5670. And it also has 2.8 gigabytes of VRAM, so that's even more interesting. Now again, this is an old graphics card and I don't expect anything substantial, but this does spark my interest a little bit as to how it's going to perform, considering now that this is higher than what I expected. Again, I don't expect anything fantastic, but I am curious. So with that being said, let's go ahead and run all the benchmarks. So we're going to start off with the easiest benchmark right here, and then go up to the most brutal benchmark, which I don't even know if it can do this one or even this one. It even says that the hardware may not be compatible, but we'll see if it can do all of them or just these four. So let's just go ahead and start. Alright, so it looks like the benchmark is done for this, and it gets a whopping score of 49,092. Now, that's not surprising, because this is the easiest benchmark that any computer can do. So, obviously, any computer that's pretty much okay can get a pretty big score in this. This is like the easiest benchmark, and it's not that hard. And I'm pretty sure this isn't even that great of a score. So like, let's see, let me compare results. Well, at least we're better than 29% of all the results. But seriously, I was just joking and being sarcastic about the whopping score of 49,000. Obviously, as you can see, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, it's kind of close to the gaming laptop, but nonetheless, it's still a few thousand off. So yeah, I was just being sarcastic about it being a whopping score. But, I mean, not bad, you know, at least it did pretty well in this. But yeah, so now let's just go on to the next benchmark, which is the extreme version of Ice Storm, which I believe is probably the same demo and same benchmarks, just a little bit like higher like quality or something. So alright, so the extreme version of the Ice Storm benchmark has finished. We got a score of 38,409, and we're still not even close to anything except the notebook, and we're only better than 50% of all results. So again, nothing special. None of these benchmarks are going to be special. It's just interesting to see how this computer runs with, you know, pretty old technology like a Core 2 Duo and the 5670 with 2.8 gigabytes of VRAM. So at least it's close to something, but of course, again, nothing's going to be, you know, surprising or, you know, anything like that. It's just interesting to see these results. So now let's go ahead and go on to the next benchmark, which is the CloudGate. So let's go ahead and run that, and I'll come back to the end of this benchmark. So in this benchmark, I'm actually starting to see some struggles. Well, this just ended, but I saw it go about 40 frames a second as the lowest. So this is the third to last benchmark, so it's not supposed to be too difficult. But the fact that it's already kind of struggling, you know, having 40 frames a second, I'm actually, and now 35 frames per second, I'm actually curious as to if it's even going to survive the top two brutal benchmarks. Probably not. No wonder why 3D Mark is telling me, like, hey, you know, your hardware may not be able to run this benchmark. So, I mean, I'll try, but it'll probably not work. And maybe even the third benchmark, which is the most common one, or the one that says for gaming PCs in general, I wonder if it's going to even do that one properly. So just wanted to update you guys as to how the graphics is doing right now. So right now it's doing the physical test or physics test, and then it's going to be done. So yeah. Alright, so it's finishing up, and we got a score of 4,485. And as for our comparing results online, we are better than 13% of all results and are only closest to the notebook, off by about 2,000-ish points. So there we go. And now let's move along to the Skydiver benchmark, which this one's a pretty long benchmark. I think it's like the longest possibly, or maybe these three are like pretty long benchmarks in general. So we're gonna try this one, and hopefully we can maybe do this one, but it most likely will not go with it, and this is definitely not gonna go with it, but we'll try. But I pretty much doubt it's even gonna work with it or anything. But here we go. Skydiver for gaming laptops and mid-range PCs. Okay, so never mind. It wasn't for gaming PCs or whatever. It's just for gaming laptops and mid-range PCs. But this is probably the last benchmark we should do. But I'll try to run these two after this one. So let's go ahead and run it. And I'll come back to you guys yet again when we got the points. Yeah, it's not looking too well on this benchmark. As you can see, it's just extremely, like, just lagging, basically. At least in my opinion, it's extremely. There were worse scenes, but just looking at this itself, it's still pretty bad. So there's a big chance the next benchmark will definitely not work. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so here's what happened. It was doing the last test, the physics test, and it just literally was like, nope, and it just closed. It's now stuck at this running benchmark Skydiver screen for no reason, because, I mean, it just closed, it crashed. So, yeah, let's just say that it couldn't do this one, and let's just put it that way, because there's definitely no way it's gonna run the other benchmarks. So yeah, anyway, let's move on to perform test. Alright, so performance test, one of my favorite benchmark programs because it literally benches every single thing in your system. So right now we're getting a good amount of frames, 1,400-ish frames, and I think sometimes it goes to 1,500 as well. So that's a good sign, sort of. I mean, that doesn't really mean much, but it does a little, like, I guess you can call it benchmark, I guess, just from rendering this and how many frames it's getting. But yeah, anyway, so we're going to be running a benchmark that runs everything, so the hard drive, the graphics card, the memory, the processor, every single thing that it can benchmark. We're going to do it and see, you know, how it all goes. And yeah, so I'm going to be doing that. And it says you're about to run all tests, may take several minutes. Yes, and then it's just going to do the processor, then the other stuff, and like I said, everything. So I'll come back once all of this is done, which is going to be a good couple of minutes or so. So for the pass mark rating, we got 1,043, which again is last place, to be expected of course, close to at least this one, the DP35DP. I'm assuming these are motherboard types because they look like a... So there's that, and then for the CPU mark, last place of course, again, 1858, but close to the Core 2 Duo E8400, 3 GHz 2017, that's what it got, so close to that at least, which is kind of expected because they're both Core 2 Duos, but even here it says Core 2, and that's it. And then 2D graphics, 419.5, so it did get really close to the 6450 in terms of 2D, not 3D. 3D is a total different story, obviously, so it got really close to that, but again, last place. 3D graphics, it beat some of them. The GT 630, it beat that. It beat the obviously it beat the HD graphics from Intel, and it did beat the 6450 in terms of 3D. So it got a score of 1,221, and you know, going against a 5770 or 550 Ti or 980, obviously it loses, but at least it got some sort of victory on this one. Memory 767, so close to this one at least, but again, last place. And then of course the hard drive, I did not expect it to win at all or even do good at all, because off cam, this freaking drive was just slow. I could tell even before I say the drive, so I don't know, it's whatever. And then you can go into more details, like more of the CPU details, 2D details, 3D, the memory, all that type of stuff. I'm not going to get into that because that's just a lot of information. And yeah, so that's basically it for the 3D Mark benchmark and the performance test benchmark. Alright, and that is it. We are finally done messing around with this Alienware computer that my dad found in a garage sale. This computer took the whole day to just do this whole video for, you know, because I was messing with it a lot and checking things on it, and there was a few issues that I had to deal with that took a good amount of time, you know, off camera, all that type of stuff. But overall, it took about 4 to 5 hours to, you know, finish this video and finish the computer in general. I still might have to do more things off cam, like maybe actually running a game on it. Maybe I'll record that, who knows. But yeah, so I'm kind of just tired and want to relax now and all that. So yeah, so thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate that. If you watched the whole video, big thanks to you for that, because I'm pretty sure this video is going to be probably like 30 minutes to 50 minutes. I'm going to try my best to edit and make it shorter than an hour, of course. But, you know, I'll see how I do the whole editing and all that type of stuff, because obviously there's some people who love these types of videos, especially if they're long, and there's some people that just get over it and just, you know, things like that. So I kind of want to be in the middle, like not super long but not too short, because obviously this was a really big, you know, special type video, because, you know, it was my first time just doing a video on, like, you know, checking on a computer, fixing a computer, messing with the computer, etc., etc. It was a lot of fun, but like I said, I'm tired, I want to relax, and yeah, so thank you guys for joining me on this journey. I appreciate that, and thank you guys so much for watching. No matter how much minutes you've watched, whether 1 minute or the whole video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that. And let me know in the comments if you guys want me to do more of these types of videos, because if so, I'll tell my dad to bring any computer he can find at garage sales or something, and if they need to be fixed, I'll do a video on fixing them, or just assembling them for parts, or just things like that. I really love doing things like that. And, you know, I've been really wanting to do computer related stuff lately. So yeah, so again, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time in another video. See you guys. Take care.